Hi, I'm going to talk about the tarot. Now you may think this is not associated with spirituality, trust me, it is. And there is a lot of rubbish spoken about the tarot. So can we use the word occult first and let's get this out the road. Now if I said to a person the word occult to a room of 500 people, 400 none of them would think immediately, oh, Satanism, demons, devils, evil, wicked. Well, no, not at all. I want you to look the word up in the English dictionary. I want you to see what it actually says, because if I'm working in the occult, which I do, okay, that's fine. I'm not working with demons and devils, and if I am, then every great explorer in this world has been working with demons and devils, because the very first man to fly to the moon, love, was working in the occult. The very first man to go deep into the forests or the jungles, Amazon, wherever, he was working in the occult, because the word occult merely means unknown. Yes, it is. Honestly, you check it out. You check it out. So I'm working in the unknown. Every explorer in the world who went where no man had gone before, he was working in the unknown, the occult. So can we just throw that myth away? So a lot of rubbish is spoken about the tarot cards. Actually, there is a lot of wisdom in the tarot cards. You know, I've dealt them for years and years and years, and I find them beautiful. Mind you, there's one tip I'll give you. When you first get a pack of tarot cards, please read everything you can about it in every book you can get your hands on, and then forget it all. Because you're the reader, not the tarot. Okay? Remember that. The beauty of the tarot and the essence in the tarot you can find by just doing that with them, handling them each day. The essence, the knowledge which is in them will seep into you anyway, because it's placed there by 21 remarkable people. Remember that. Which we'll talk about at a later time if you're interested. But suffice to say, let's get back to this numerology thing. Now, when people come to me for a sitting, I say to them, give me your date of birth. And anyone who's ever seen me work on stage or heard me work on radio, first thing I say is, give me your first name, darling, and give me your date of birth. Just the date and the month. And they give me that and I go, oh, you're in a 5, or you're in a 6, or you're in a 7. And what I'm doing is finding out where the person is on the so-called wheel of life. Doesn't look a bit like this, but it's the best I can do at the moment. The wheel, you have to trust me when I tell you, we're all born onto this wheel. Now this wheel only has a 9-year cycle on it. That's all it has, is 9 years. So you have to be somewhere on that wheel. You see, if you say 10, then noughts are silent, so a 10 becomes a 1. Think about it. So you are in one of those years, okay? Now, it's quite funny this, because on the wheel of life, there are 9 years. And in them 9 years, you will go through many learning curves. This is why your life changes constantly from one year to the next. And it's funny this, because the first 9 cards of the tarot, quite funny this, corresponds with the first 9 years, the only 9 years I should say, on the wheel of life. Now, we all have to be somewhere on this wheel, and your date of birth tells me where you are. But it's a living, moving, breathing wheel. And although I can say to you, for example, you're in a 4, you're not going to stay in a 4. It means that last year you was in a 3. Next year you'll go into a 5, then a 6, then a 7, then an 8, then a 9, then, whoops, back to the 1. Now during these 9 years, as you go through them, you're taught many lessons. And the lesson which is not learned, that lesson will be repeated on the next spin of the wheel. So you go to the 9, then you go to the 1, and as you go around the next 9 years, you're taught many lessons. Lesson not learned, lesson repeated. Different time, different face, different place, same lesson, different disguise. So you go for it again and again and again. And I keep saying to you, this is a learning curve. It doesn't matter what happens to it, it's how do you feel about it. I can't tell you how to get past your karma. I can only tell you it's the way you think and feel which will stay, whether you've succeeded or not. It doesn't matter, because you'll get to the 9 and you'll clear all out and you'll do it all again, and again and again. It's like a child takes a test at school and fails. Driving lesson. You take a test, you fail. You go again and again and again until you get it right. And how many of you have said, you know, I swore to God I would never do that again, and God, I did. And you will. And it doesn't matter, because you've not failed, you've gained more experience. Let's hope that the other 239 of your group souling managed to get it right first time, or some of them did at least. But don't worry about it. Now, each one of these years will bring a different pain, a different gain, a different happiness, a different sorrow into your world. It all depends on where you are on the wheel of life. Now, I'm not here to try and sell you a reading. Trust me, I don't have to. What I'm here to try to get you to understand that up to the age of 49, you are on this wheel. After 49, forget it, because now you are writing your own karma, your own script. You're writing your own life, you're planning it yourself. You're only under karmic debt until you're 49-year-old. And by golly, on that wheel you can scream all you like. I mean, let's put this in a funny little way. There's you, crying your eyes out because you just split up with your boyfriend. He's run off with your best friend. Everything in the world's wrong. You've got to get out your house. It's a year 2. You're licking your wounds. You're crying and screaming out to the cosmos. And over on the other side, this being turns around and says to the being, who's that? Is she one of yours? Yes, she's one of mine. Oh, it's all right. It's okay. Next year I'll put her in a different situation and she'll understand what I'm doing. Oh, don't worry, she's only in school. She'll be back in 20 years' time. It's okay. She can cope with it. Show me you can. Up and at 'em. That's why I say, never made a mistake in your life because you'll always get another chance. Now, we talk of the past, we talk of the future. Let's talk of the present. Because the present is God's gift to you. The present means the present. You've got a present today. And that present was you can't change yesterday, you can change tomorrow. That's the present. And He gives you that present every day of your life, so use it wisely. Remember this, every year you step into will bring a different challenge into your life. 3s and 4s always bring moves and changes. Remember that. Okay, 3s and 4s also can set your personal life, but Lady Luck has to put something back into it. It's all designed, it's perfect. I can't go into too much detail on this here without someone asking me for example. So would you like to give me your date of birth?
My date of birth, Paula, is 23, 4.
Well, I'll make you in a 5 before we start. Which 5s are unknown, very unknown. But are you sure that's your birthday?
Difficult one because I have 2 birthdays actually.
Go on.
I was actually born, physically born, on the 23rd. But my father, because he was a shift worker, never got the date right and actually registered me on my birth certificate as the 22nd. So I have a royal 2 birthdays.
I think you'll find that because of this hiccup, we're going to go on the day he was born anyway, but I think you'll find the number 4 carries around behind you, and every time you touch a 4, because a mistake was made when you was born, 4s will not be very lucky for you. Okay, so be careful with it. Have you got it? But in 5 anyway, you're in what we call the unknown year. Every time you think you know what's happening, you find out you don't know. And it's a very desperate struggle in a year 5. Just keep going. I call it the crane year. I call it, you know, you go into the arcade at the Blackpool Promenade, you put 20p in the little crane. This up comes down, it picks up this teddy. Got it, got it, got it, got it. No. Got it, got it. That's what the year's like. First 5 months are the worst. I would love to go into detail on this. And you know what I would like is for the people out there to send me the date of birth and the first name. And I would love to pick some out of a bag and say, this is the year you're in and this is what is happening. And the feedback that will come from you will be brilliant, because this actually is an incredible system. And no, you won't find this in any book. This is my system. I was born able to do this. I don't know how I can do this because I've never read a book in my life. But there again, it's wonderful. And this can be checked out. You'll be amazed how many people marry in year 6, you'd be amazed how many divorce in year 6. Amazed how many people move in the years 3 and 4 and the year 1. You'll be absolutely amazed how many times children are born when the female is in the year 3, or conceiving a child in the year 3. Because the 3 is the mother figure. That's the mother figure. That's called reaping the fruits of our labours, and that card represents the wife, mother, femininity. So if you want a baby, love, that's the year you can conceive. That's the year you could give birth. The year 4 belongs to the Emperor. This is why we sort your personal life out in the year 3 and 4. It's difficult to explain to you here. I do lectures on this. So if you're really interested and you want to learn how to, do this. Now, you know in the tarot, there's one unnumbered card. That's it. Because I've told you, we are under karmic debt. But on that karmic debt, until we're 49, we have free will. Now, it's funny this, that is the wheel of life, and this is the unnumbered one. Now the wheel is 10. And the unnumbered one is nothing. That's because that's your destiny, and it rules you. This is because it's the Fool. Now, I've never called this card the Fool in my life. I've always called this card the Innocent. This is the child looking up to God saying, God, what have you got for me? And he's saying, well, dive over the edge of this cliff, my love, and I'll show you. And that, my love, is your free will of what you do. Now, when you do your free will and you come unstuck, they call you the Fool. When you do your own free will and it works out right, they call you the clever, bright one. So, but does it matter, really? As long as you made the effort and you dived in and you said, well, I'm going to have a go, I'll go with God on this one. I've never obeyed the rules in this world, much to my pain sometimes, much to my sorrow sometimes, but never to my regret. I've always taken chances, and I've always gone with my gut instinct and my own feelings. And you know what? Spirit have always looked after me. My angels must despair of me many, many times, but they've always been there to pick me up, cushion me, brush me down and say, go on, start all over again. Now, I'm at the 70 mark. Fine. So I am out of my karmic debt. I've been out of it for quite a long time, 20 years, which is fine. But you know what? I still obey the rules of the cosmos. And I'm told I don't have to anymore, but I find sometimes it helps. Right, now whatever year you're in, you can cope with it, because you agreed to do it before you came here. You agreed to experience that year. And there are good years in it, and there's no bad years. It's all a learning curve. If you fail, you get a chance to do it again, because here's the present. Every day you get the present. Remember that. Now, if you take your birthday as you was born on the 23rd, you will find that your life changed last year and the year before. Okay, small changes, but changes nevertheless. You'll have found that, you look at your life, and I have to say this to you because you've given me a date of birth, and I have to tell you what I see. You're in the 5, which is unknown. You're in your domestication year next year. Fabulous year for a marriage, even better one for a divorce. I'm not saying you're getting married, because I know you already are. I'm not saying you're getting divorced. But there will be a lot of problems in the first 6 months of next year. So take care. Knowing you'll just glide through it the best way you can. But take care, because there's 1 or 2 things to come out of the dark.
Interesting.
You took a deep breath then when I said that.
Oh yes, yes, interesting.
But can you just go back to last year for me?
Yes.
Now, I know you, Kevin. I mean, I've known you quite a long time. I also know that you have a very steady job, and that is. But did anything change in your work last year at all? Position-wise? Now, I know what I'm saying to you. I already know you've been in the same situation for years, and I also know that you work the same hours, and I also know that your work's not changed in the last 10 years, but did something change within it?
We've got change of management.
Yes, that doesn't surprise me. And fine, you know, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm also saying that it's something that you wasn't counting on and it's round you a little bit to this year. Have you ever had that feeling that you'd like to move in and change the way things are being done, but you're not entitled to, or you're not allowed to say this?
Oh yes, I'd like to see them change.
Yes. Now, you see, this wheel will definitely bring itchy feet to us. It will definitely bring times when we want to bring out our best feelings and our worst feelings. And I suggest if you're going to say anything at all, say it at the end of this year. Please do not say it in the first 6 months of next year. It'll backfire on you, something terrible. All right, just to show how this wheel works, I want to take you back to being in a year 1. And if I take you back to being in a year 1, we're talking 6 years ago. Okay, did you have any changes?
Yeah, I moved from one job to another.
That's right. That's your beginnings, you Sammy, your new beginnings. Well, do you know what they say? If you're on a road for 5 years and you don't get off it, you have successfully agreed to stay for another 5 years. So you're stuck in your job, do you understand me? For another 4 years at least.
Unfortunately, yes.
Well, that's the way it goes, because if you walk onto a road, no matter if you want to get back onto another road, you suffer the penalty of it for 5 years. I know this sounds very brief, and it's very difficult for people out there to understand what I'm saying. Okay, but if you check this wheel out and see where you had moves and changes, and, you know, I look at these things and it's like, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I do lectures on this, and this teaches you how to do this. If you'd like any more information, contact me. You can have this information. Okay, it's quite simple once you get into it, and then there's 9 pages, well, there's 9 chapters on telling you what each year means. I'm writing the book on this at the moment. It should be very interesting. But if you've got a question, send me a date of birth. Obviously, if I get absolutely snowed under, which I probably will, then I can only do a few at a time. But it should be interesting. Full date of birth and your correct birth name. That's all I need, and we'll find out where you are on the Wheel of Life.
That's fascinating information, Paula. There's so many questions that can be asked.
Oh yes. You can't deal with all the questions that are asked on this wheel on here. It's just to let you know that there are many facets to what I do. The tarot, the Wheel of Life, spirituality, healing, reincarnation, life after death. It is all interlinked. And at the end of this one, I've got about 10 of these up. I'm going to point out to you how it is all interlinked. Because if it doesn't dawn on you on the way, then at the end of it, I'm going to say, now you see the connection. Do you see the connection? Which is very important. And that is why the major cards in the tarot total 21. Over 78 in a full tarot pack, it was 21. Because the knowledge that is in them cards was left by 21 wise men and women, oracles, whatever you want to call them, the wise man of the tribe. He left his knowledge on one of those cards. You read it with your fingers, you read it with your soul. You don't need a book to read the tarot. I've never read a book in my life. Trust me. And people say, you're a good teacher, Paula. No, I'm not. I'm not a good teacher. My reply is, I can only help you to remember what you have forgotten, because every single person out there has the microchip inside their heart, their soul, the history of the world, the future of the world, and everything that's ever happened. Go deep inside yourself and read it, because you can.
Thank you, Paula. I'll look forward to reading your book with interest.
Use it wisely then, because I'm leaving that knowledge on the earth plane. And it's been my pleasure talking to you. I hope you come back and listen to the next one.